What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I finally got my hands on one of these BOBCAT T86 R series machines, courtesy from WhiteStar. They let me bring this out for a couple days to try one out. This was my first time running one, and this is the biggest CTL that Bobcat makes. So it's got the R series, which has the inline engine. It has the redesigned one-piece cab system. It's got these cast lift arms where it's all cast one piece. And then the tailgate and back end's quite a bit different. The bob attach up here is a little different. So that's basically everything that's pretty much different on this machine when comparing it to the older M series. Now you can see the difference here on these lift arms that I'm talking about. So this is the cast one piece design right here where it's all made into one. You can see this is not. So they got flat steel here on the front. It's welded all the way down. It's welded here. It's welded back here. And you can see this is all just one cast piece like they got where these tilt cylinders mount. You can see all this is welded on, added on plate here. And on here, this is just one cast metal piece right here. So no welding there. So they say that's a stronger design. As we get up here to the hydraulic coupler block, this machine has super flow. So that's what these two couplers right here for, the super flow, and it is 42 gallon a minute. And I think it's 4,061 PSI. So super flow, high flow, and standard flow. To my knowledge, this is the only machine on the market that has 3 hydraulic flow options. So they've changed this cab now. As you can see, the cab on my 770 M series will lift up like so, and it's got the bolts on the inside, and this all stays together. So we got a seal over here on the cab where the cab sits down, and that's a two-piece cab. Essentially the floor stays in the machine. So on this one, they got the cab bolts here on the outside. So when you raise the cab, the floor goes with the machine. So the whole interior, all this, when you unbolt the cab, raise it up, it stays with the machine. So that's a big difference between the R series and the M series. So as we come around here to the back, you can see here the engine is no longer sitting sideways on these R series. So you can raise this radiator up and you can see the engine there. As we look at the M series, this engine's going to sit in here sideways. So to get access to the top of it, you got to take off this SCR, the muffler, and all that to get to the top of the engine. Now, with it like this, all your stuff is all right here. So you got your fuel filter, alternator, AC compressor, oil filter, starter, all very accessible. But the difference between the engine being sideways versus straight in line is this one has a being sideways is ran by a belt. So the engine turns a flywheel and it has a belt going to the hydraulic pump. Now with it being inline, they can bolt the hydraulic pump straight to the engine and run the hydraulic pump that way, so there's no belt. So easy accessibility to service. You give up just a little bit of accessibility to service. You can get to your fuel filter easy. the oil filter is a little bit harder to get to. It is right here. So I'm assuming you'd have to remove this air intake box to change it. But all the other belts, all that is right here. You can get to your AC. That's a little harder, but not too bad. AC alternator right there. The fuel filter, the little fuel filter is a little easier to access right here than the M series, but you can get to the top of the engine much better. I guess another trade-off would be you could change this fan filter here. This one you'd have to raise the cab, undo a plastic thing, and then lay in there on top of it uncomfortably and get to that filter. So kind of some goods and bads on each one of them. You kind of win one and lose one per se. You got your AC condenser is now mounted in the back, whereas on the M series it was mounted up top. The air filter went back to the back, where on that one it's mounted up top. And I'm pretty sure they said that these now draw air in from the back and shoot them out the sides, whereas that one would draw air in from the top and shoot it out the sides. Actually, this one may shoot it out the top. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it draws air in from the back now, so that was different. As you can see, you got your exhaust and stuffs now up there at the front on these. So a little bit more of a fire hazard because you can't really get in there to clean it as good as you could that one with it being in the back. You could take a little bit more cleaning to make sure you keep debris and stuff out of there. But I think Bobcat did a pretty good job of sealing all this off. As you can see here, we got screens back here. There's screens up here. There's rubber sealing between the cab. And as we get up here, they got, you know, some more rubber seals here, here, and over there. And they got guards over the exhaust and all that. So kind of cut down on some of that debris getting in there. A couple other different things between these two is you got the torsion suspension versus the rigid mount. Now this was my first time driving one of these with the torsion suspension, and it's actually quite a bit smoother. I feel like it's worth it. I've driven Caterpillars that had them and thought they rode pretty smooth, and this is pretty smooth on this one. So this radiator is massive on this 86. I mean, look how big that thing is all the way around. They said they upgraded the cooling package for guys that mulch. But that radiator is massive. So you can actually add fluid directly to the radiator here. Then you got the recovery bottle as well. I don't know anybody that mulches with these 86s personally, but I've heard some people say that they can actually run it with the head without having an external cooling package with this radiator, but I don't know how true that is. But another big improvement that I like is they moved the fuel tank to the side, where as the 770 has it in the bottom underneath. I do like this fuel fill. Whatever Bobcat engineer designed this, he needs a raise. This, look how big that is. You can fit a high flow nozzle in there, fill it right up, no issues, versus this little bitty fuel neck over here on the 770. I mean, that thing's tiny compared to that. Now they did improve this one by adding some vents so it doesn't regurgitate fuel back too bad, but it'll still do it sometimes, but not as bad as it did on my 650. It was terrible at fueling with the high flow nozzle. So yeah, the 86 is the exact same width as the 770. It's 78 inches wide. When you put them side by side, they're pretty similar in size. You'll notice that the 86 has, I think it's like 6 or 8 more inches of track on the ground. The drive motors are a little bit taller, and it's basically, other than that, the same width. It's just longer. So, and it's taller up in the back. You got your def lid back here too. Mine's on the side there, but it's got LED lights all the way around it. They did make this nice and open down here, as you can see, to keep debris from building up in there. It's all open. There's some in there that needs cleaned out, but on some models that would be kind of closed off, and I've seen where debris gets so packed in there on some that were designed like this that it would bend these cylinders because people wouldn't clean them out. So that's a good deal that that's open, so you can clean that out easily. The front bob attach plate, as you can see, is more open, so it doesn't get dirt and stuff packed in here when you're curling your bucket back, whereas this will get packed full and you'll have to scrape that out there. I did notice that the dirt would fall through this quick attach plate a lot better whenever I was moving some dirt with it yesterday. So take a look at the inside. So the cab room on this compared to the M series is about the same, side to side. The most notable difference to me was how deep the footwell was. So I'm not very tall, so if a short person was sitting in here, you could almost have your feet not touching the ground. So they got these footrest here for short people like me. There is a lot of button layout changes. So forever, Bobcats had the push to operate button over here for years and years, and the gauges over here. Now it's all opposite. So over here, you got your start, your key on basically, and then the glow plug light. So that went out, so now you can start it. And now the push to operate button is right here. So every time I was running this machine, I would get in it and go up here to push the button instead of pushing it over here. So you got the screen up there. It's LED, so it's probably going to be flickering on my camera. Oh, there it goes. So there's quite a bit of settings in here. The machine settings, you can adjust your drive response, your hydraulic response. You got speed management, the steering drift, lift and tilt compensation, your auto idle, several different things in there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the one big thing I did find as I was going through here was, where was it? Yeah, this right here. So on mine, if I got the code, you got to type it in every single time, even if you turn it off for 10 minutes. So they got this one now where you can set auto lock. You can set it for like a timer. So that's nice. You can set it for like 15 minutes. So that way, when you're on the job site and you're needing to get in and out of it and not have to type in your code every single time. So I did like that. The camera, real good on it. I like that you can put that center line on there for backing up to a trailer. I mentioned that whenever I was running it. So yeah, you can leave the camera big screen all the time. The only problem is you lose sight of your gauges. So I'm used to looking at the camera up here being on all the time. But like I said, you lose your gauges. It's the only downfall of not having a separate screen for the camera. But nice layout. You got your all your engine parameters and stuff right here on this screen if you don't want to look at these gauges. But other than that, all the controls are pretty much the same. They moved the air conditioner controls overhead. All the radio and all that functions in there. You got your standard flow. The next light on's high flow and then super flow, I believe. You got H pattern. I don't know why anybody would want to run that. You got your lights there. And I did see some people saying they did away with this little control setup here on some of the newer models. I don't know if that's true. When I go back to WhiteStar, I'll have to look and see on the new ones. I don't know if they got any 25s out there yet, but this is a 23. See if they actually did away with that. If they did, it would suck, because I kind of like this running it. You got your right hand here. I need to adjust my radio volume when I call somebody instead of going up here and trying to swipe it. It's just real handy having it right there. On this side, you got your reversing fan, your automatic ride control, your bucket positioning. The 770 only has the bucket positioning one way. This one will do it both ways, so that's nice. It's got an intermittent wiper, so you can have it on continuously or have it in the first one, and it will only wipe every so many seconds. So I like that. When they move the Bobcats up and down over here. But all these controls are the same. They're still adjustable. They move the emergency hydraulic release back here on the back wall. Mine's like right here in the floor. The speakers are up there. They made these vents here on this one where you could adjust them forward to defrost the front window, or you can move them backwards. That was a complaint I had. They used to have this on the M series, but they did away with it. Just an angled vent. I mentioned that in one of my videos. But I don't see the little vents back here on this one like mine has to defrost the back window. So still has the heated seat switch back there in the back. I'm just looking this over. I didn't like this cable, how it's just here like this, unprotected. I think they could have did a better job on putting that in something to protect it. I don't know for sure what that runs, but it might be your bucket positioning sensor or something. They got, I don't know what, if those are removable or not. But they got a tie down there. Yeah, this front plate is quite a bit different style than the M series. So they moved the horn. The horn's up there now, or my horn over here is right there. They still got the washer fluid nozzle up top on this one. You can get the LED side lights. They go in those blanks right there. HVAC filters on both sides. And this is one of my biggest complaints, as well as I think a lot of people's, is this hydraulic fluid reservoir down here like this. This is the dumbest design. You put your hydraulic oil in there, which isn't too bad because the door comes off. But to check this, there was so much dirt in there because this was a used machine. I had to clean that off just so I could get down in there to check and make sure that the fluid, you still can't even see it. But you got to get in there, wipe that dang plastic off, and then you can look down in there and somewhat see your red fluid level. You can't even see it from under here, but yeah, if that's packed full of mud, I don't like that. I wish they'd find a different place to put that. So they got rid of the link arms that go all the way down. They just got the short ones right here. And I also seen some people saying that they done away with this hose protector on some of them. You have to buy this separate, so all the hoses are just exposed. And like I said, I'll look today when I go. I don't know if they did away with it on the 86s or they just did away with it on like the 66 and 76. But yeah, I'll look at that. But if so, that's kind of a crappy deal. I'd want to make sure I had that guard there. You can see it looks like a lot of sticks and stuff or stuff scratched on this from prior use. Another thing, looking down here on the bottom, as you can see how high the 770 is off the ground. This one's quite a bit lower here, between the ground and the bottom of this. So you do lose a little bit of clearance. I think the machine is maybe a touch lower than the 770, or it may just be that back end that makes it look like that. Anyway, I really enjoyed running this machine. I thought it was really good compared to the 770, being that it's only 105 and that's 92. I didn't think there would be that much noticeable difference, but there is. It really surprised me. The hydraulics feel like they're a little quicker, more responsive than the hydraulics on the 770. So if you're thinking between an 86 and a 770, I'd probably go with the 86. There is quite a bit of jump in price, but I think you'll be more than happy with this machine if you were to pick it over the 770. But if you're somebody that doesn't need the super flow and the high flow options and all that, then you'd probably be good with the 770. So if you guys like all the creature comforts like I do and all the technology stuff, then you're going to like the R series better than the M series. But if you don't care about all that, then the M series will be fine for you. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.